be Pastor Tobi of Spark Nation in the UK, right? Pastor Tobi, he's been accused of fraud, and he's facing deportation from the UK. Yeah, I mean, for those of you who might not know who Pastor Tobi is, obviously he's an alleged pastor, in my opinion. I don't think he's necessarily a pastor. I haven't necessarily seen him even preaching. He's always in the news for things outside of what his job title says. If he's not hanging out with celebrities, he's showing off his expensive jewelry or cars and residence and lifestyle. Pretty much, he probably is a lifestyle person or lifestyle coach, right? I guess that would be a befitting job title for him, instead of saying or calling himself a pastor. At least these are just my opinions. This is how I see him. If you're a pastor, even though I don't agree with a lot of pastors too, at least for the people like what's his name, even Daddy Freeze, to me, would even be more of a pastor, because for the most part, he's always talking about the Bible, talking about the gospel, all that good stuff. So Daddy Freeze could put Pastor Daddy Freeze behind his, pastor behind his name. And I would respect that, compared to this guy who, on the other hand, never in the news for being a pastor. He's always in the news for some different reason other than the exact thing that he's supposed to be known for, which is just a little bit weird anyway. But he's been accused of fraud, and he's allegedly facing deportation. There's a story on the Telegraph from the UK, which I'm going to share here in 1 second. That I think they broke the story, and he's been all over the place saying, no need to panic, no need to do this, everything is under control. There's no crime committed, all that good stuff. Boop, 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 boop. I mean, listen, man, that's what someone would say, right? That's what someone would say. I've never seen someone who's been accused of something that came out and said, hey, I did it. You know what I'm saying, right? I've never seen never one person who's been accused of anything, even if the evidence is, they would say the proof is in the pudding, right? Even if the evidence is right there, caught red-handed, I've never seen one person who's been accused. I've never seen one person who's been accused of anything that would come out and say, oh, I did it, I'm sorry. No, it doesn't happen, right? But hey, let's take a look at the what's it called, the story from the Telegraph UK, and there we can talk about the story and go from there for sure. We're just trying to find the tab here on my computer, and we can go from there real quick. It's supposed to be here somewhere, but now it's tripping. Hey, I'll find it in 1 second. Nigerian. All right, here it is. All right, let's share that screen. Boom. Is it sharing now? All right, there we go. It's sharing. All right. So here, from the Telegraph.co.uk, says Nigerian pastor whose church was shut down over alleged 1.87 million fraud loses deportation battle. Tobi Boyega of Spark Nation claimed being kicked out of UK would breach his human rights. Okay, that's a good argument, right? He also says a Nigerian pastor whose church was shut down over an alleged 1.8 million pound fraud has lost his fight against deportation, despite claiming it would breach his human rights. An immigration tribunal has ruled that Tobi Boyega, 44, the cousin of John Boyega, the Star Wars actor, it's ridiculous, right? When someone does something, you go and drag his other cousin who's famous, right? I think that's just ridiculous. But that's what we live in, right? Just to bring shed more light on it, to drag more eyes to the story, right? Because putting John Boyega on this, or in this story, in this blog or whatever, right? It's gonna drag more attention. So why not do it, right? And they're not breaking any rules. It's just what it is, right? Should be deported back to his native Nigeria after investigations, including by the Telegraph, exposed misuse of funds by his church. Mr. Boyega was head of Spark Nation, a controversial church. Definitely a controversial church. I mean, hey, let's just keep going. shut down after failing to properly account for more than 1.87 million pounds of outgoings and operating with lack of transparency. He claimed deportation would breach his rights under the European Convention of Human Rights to a family life. Having married a British woman, he also said the attempt to remove him by the Home Office failed to take account of his community work with SPAC. Describing a charismatic community leader of a large, well organized church, his legal team claimed that he had intervened in the lives of many hundreds of young people, predominantly from the black communities in London, to lead them away from trouble. Okay, I mean, you can't be mad at that, right? Someone who's in the community, helping out the young, the youth, and keeping them out of trouble and stuff like that. I can't be mad at that. No one should be mad at that. But let's keep reading and see what's in this story. He claimed his work has been lauded by politicians, including I like the way they put lauded in that parenthesis quotation mark. I like the way they put lauded in quotation mark there, right? By politicians, including Boris Johnson and senior figures within the Metropolitan Police. Although no testimony by them was submitted to the court. Okay, I see. That's why they put this in quotation marks, because there are no testimony, provided in court. So, anybody can say anything, right? But if you cannot bring this testimony in court and put it there, let it be on the record, then it can be fraudulent, it can be misguiding, right? But hey, he said Boris Johnson and senior figures within the Metropolitan Police, they've lauded his doings. Good one. He said that without his personal presence in London, projects that he masterminded would fall apart or reduce in size. However, the tribunal was told the Home Office contended all is not as it seems. Various manifestations of Mr. Adeboyega's church have been closed down by either the Charity Commission or the High Court because of concerns over its finances and lack of transparency, according to the judgment. I mean, I don't know how churches operate, right? I'm not a pastor. I don't know how church, but I'm a business owner, so I know you definitely have to file your taxes every year or every quarter or every whatever, at least in the USA, right? A business owner, you have to file your taxes, that's for sure, and that's how the government can have access to your finances and stuff like that. But as far as churches, I don't know if the churches are obligated to do the same, file taxes and stuff. And I don't know what that is, but church wouldn't be considered a business, right? I don't know. Please let me know in the comment section if a church would be considered a business, and if anybody knows how that works. I don't know how it works, so if anybody knows how that works, it would be interesting. I would love to know for sure. So please let me know in the comment section if a church is a business for sure, and how they file their taxes and all that good stuff. Okay, this is a good one here. It says selling their own blood. Former members of the church have alleged that it is a cult in which impoverished young people are encouraged to do anything they can to donate money, including taking out large loans, committing benefit fraud, and even selling their own blood. That's unreal, man. That's unreal. That's blood money, right? Typical blood money. The proverbial blood money, it's ridiculous. It is alleged that the church leadership led lavish lifestyles, and there have, it is said, been instances of abuse. The Home Office's case before us was that all of this needs to be taken into account when evaluating whether Mr. Adeboyega is in fact of real value to the UK. Okay. Mr. Adeboyega has lived in the UK unlawfully since overstaying on a visitor's visa that allowed him to enter Britain in 2005. In 2009, he applied for leave to remain under ECHR's, that's the European Convention of Human Rights, I guess, right to family life. His application was initially dismissed by a first-tier immigration tribunal before he appealed. In the tribunal, he maintained no one had ever faced criminal charges over his church's finances, that many of the attacks on him and SPAC Nation were politically motivated, and that claims it was a cult were unfounded. And here is John Boyega, the Star Wars actor. It's just ridiculous, right? How they just drag this guy. It's ridiculous. It's insane how they drag this guy into this whole story. I mean, he was just minding his own business now, and now he's in the news, right? He's just minding his own business. Let me see what he's been up to recently. John Boyega. Let me see what he's been up to recently. Minding his business, and boom! All of a sudden, his cousin has brought him into the news. Oh, he's just 32 years old. Actually, he's a young guy. That's John Boyega, by the way. So, how old was he then when he acted the Star Wars movie? That's interesting. I mean, there's no recent story about him. Okay, let me go to his Instagram. Let me go see his Instagram and see what he's been up to there. And he has 2.1 million followers. And his most recent post was 1 hour ago. He said, visiting Tokyo for Comic-Con was an incredible experience. Reconnecting with fans who've supported me from afar is truly an honor. Okay, that's his most recent post, just an hour ago. Apart from that, I don't see any new projects he's been on. He's been on the NAACP Image Awards nominee. They cloned Tyrone. Okay, They Cloned Tyrone. That's a movie he did. Let me see. They Cloned Tyrone. Let me see when that movie was made. So he was nominated for the NAACP Image Awards for Outstanding Actor in They Cloned Tyrone. Let's see when They Cloned Tyrone. Let's see when that was made. Oh, that was just last year. Okay, that's his most recent movie. They Cloned Tyrone. All right. What I'm going to do here is type his name again and see all the movies he's been on recently. And The Cloned Tyrone, by the way, is on Netflix. So if you want to see John Boyega, go to Netflix and go check out that movie for sure. John Boyega movies. All right, in 2023, which is the latest one he just did, that's The Cloned Tyrone. And then he was in The Woman King in 2022, which is a spin-off of The Woman King is a spin-off of Wakanda. What's it? Wakanda? Wakanda is not the name. What's the name of that movie? Oh fuck. Come on now. What's the name of Wakanda? But you know what I'm saying, right? Wakanda. The movie Wakanda is a spin-off of it's a spin-off of Wakanda. I guess Wakanda is the name, right? Wakanda is the name of the movie, right? Yeah. And then he was in another one, Breaking. Is it? Yeah, Breaking. Breaking was made in 2022 as well. And then he was in another one, Naked Singularity. And then he was in another one, Red, White, and Blue in 2020. Okay, he's been active though. He's been doing stuff. And then he's obviously on Star Wars and Pacific Uprising, Star Wars again in 2017. Okay, he's just doing his thing, right? Minding his business, right? And he's been on a ton of movies actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 16 movies at least. That's what Google shows me. Since 2011, he's been acting since 2011. Just minding his damn business, right? I'm sorry, I didn't want to share this screen, and then I guess I should have shared it, right? I'm sorry. I guess I should have shared it. But anyway, hey, listen. John Boyega was minding his business, and Tobi Adeboyega brought him out into the, for the wrong reasons, which is just ridiculous. But anyway, let's keep reading this story here. He says, however, the tribunal was told the Charity Commission concluded there had been serious misconduct and mismanagement in the administration of the charity, which was sustained over a substantial period of time. The tribunal also found Mr. Adeboyega's evidence to be hyperbolic in many instances. Hyperbolic would mean, exaggerating, right? And had sought to grossly inflate his influence. We find it to be implausible that he has the time to undertake all of this work personally. It said the tribunal concluded, we are not satisfied that the work that Spark Nation undertakes generally would collapse or even significantly suffer should the appellant be required to leave the UK. I guess they're really trying to kick this guy out of the they're onto this guy, man. They're really trying to kick this guy out of the UK, man. It's ridiculous. Weighing all of the foregoing in the balance, we conclude that the decision to refuse leave to remain was wholly proportionate. Mr. Boyega seeks to rely on family and private life relationships, all of which have been established whilst he was in the UK unlawfully, and which would survive his return to Nigeria. Interesting. I mean, I'm not the one to sit here and try to come for a man who wants to be together with his family, right? I wouldn't sit here and try to be that guy. I'm not that guy. I mean, if for anything, this, in my opinion, I'm an immigrant, so I kind of relate, to what this guy is going through, right? In the immigration system in the UK. I'm not in the UK, by the way, but an immigrant, in general, I can relate to what he could be going through right now in that regards, especially someone who, I guess he has kids, right? He probably has kids and a wife and all that good stuff. Separating them, that's going to be a huge deal for sure. But the story keeps going and says the interference would therefore be limited and lawful in all the circumstances. Excuse me. Absolutely. I mean, lawfully for sure. I mean, they might not be breaking any laws, right? According to the UK laws, right? But if he does have valid reasons to be in the UK, I mean, if he can beat the tribunal and win that case of being in the UK, that would be a great thing. But my thing is the fraud and the other stories of, say, he's been encouraging people to sell their blood and donate money to his church. That one, I can't stand for that one for sure. And again, this guy has been in the news for all the wrong reasons you can think about, apart from the one which he is supposed to be, the pastor, right? There's also another flamboyant pastor, in the US, right? I think that dude is in Georgia. Recently, he went to jail. Recently, he's in jail. Dude, it's just ridiculous. They leave the gospel that they claim to preach. They leave that aspect of it and want to be in the news for showing, Lamborghinis, Rolls Royces, watches, and all that good stuff. It's just ridiculous. And the most ridiculous part is, it's not like you worked for this money that you're flaunting. These are donations from people, from poor people. And then you sit down, buy Rolexes, buy, Richard Mille's, all that expensive stuff. And then you throw it in these people's faces. I think it's just ridiculous. How about you preach the gospel and just stick with it? If the gospel somehow makes you millions and millions of dollars or pounds in your case, right? Then so be it. But flaunting it in front of people, that definitely will always bring attention, and the wrong attention, the type of attention you don't need on yourself. Well, anyway, hey, I'm just gonna move on from this story and go to the next story I have here. It's what it is. If he's broken the law, I guess the people in the UK, the government of the UK would be the ones to figure that one out and do what they deem fit, and that's for sure. But as far as deporting him and separating him from his family, hey man, I can't sit here and try to because I've seen on the internet a lot of people laughing, he ha ha ha. It's not funny at all. Deportation is not funny at all, especially when you've had some roots in the country. Now you have family, you have friends, you've pretty much built your life in that country, and now they want to deport you. That's the sad part of this news, in my opinion, anyway. But the fraud side, that part, I can't stand by that one, man. If you're defrauding people of their money and making them go, if these things are true, if the allegations are true, man, I think he should face the consequences, and that's what it is.